Hey cat lovers, welcome back to another video. If you've ever watched your cat, you've probably noticed their tail is almost never still. It twitches, swishes, puffs up, curves, and moves in all sorts of ways. And every single one of those movements means something. Your cat's tail is basically a mood ring, a communication device, and an emotional barometer all rolled into one furry appendage. The problem is, most cat owners misinterpret what their cat's tail is saying. You might think a wagging tail means your cat is happy, just like a dog. Wrong. You might think a puffed up tail is cute. It's not. It's a warning sign. Understanding your cat's tail language is one of the most important skills you can develop as a cat owner because it helps you read your cat's emotional state, predict their behavior, and respond appropriately to their needs. Today we're going to decode 15 different cat tail movements and positions. By the end of this video, you'll be fluent in tail language, and you'll never misread your cat's signals again. If you love learning about cat behavior and communication, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now let's dive into the secret language of cat tails. Tail position 1, the vertical tail. Let's start with one of the most positive tail positions you'll see. Your cat approaches you with their tail held straight up in the air, perpendicular to the ground. This is called the vertical tail, or the flagpole tail, and it's one of the best signs you can get from a cat. When a cat holds their tail straight up, they're saying, "Hello, I'm happy to see you. I feel confident and friendly." This is how cats greet other cats they like, and it's how they greet their favorite humans. A vertical tail is an invitation for interaction. Your cat is in a good mood and is open to attention, play, or affection. You'll often see the vertical tail when you come home from work, when you walk into a room where your cat is, or when you're about to feed them. It's a greeting gesture that signals positive emotions and friendly intentions. If your cat approaches you with a vertical tail, this is the perfect time to pet them, talk to them, or engage in play. Here's something interesting about the vertical tail. Kittens start displaying this behavior with their mothers when they're just a few weeks old. It's how they signal to their mom that they want attention, food, or grooming. Adult cats retain this behavior and use it with their human caregivers because in many ways they see us as parental figures. When your cat gives you a vertical tail, they're treating you like family. One variation of the vertical tail is the vertical tail with a slight curve at the tip, almost like a question mark. This is an even more positive signal. It means your cat is feeling playful and curious in addition to being friendly. If you see this tail position, it's a great time to break out the toys and have a play session. Tail position 2, the puffed up tail now. Let's talk about a tail position that looks very different. Your cat's tail suddenly becomes huge and fluffy, puffed up to 2 or 3 times its normal size. The technical term for this is piloerection, and it's one of the most dramatic tail signals a cat can give. A puffed up tail means your cat is extremely frightened, startled, or feeling threatened. When a cat puffs up their tail, they're trying to make themselves look bigger and more intimidating to whatever they perceive as a threat. It's a defensive posture designed to scare off potential attackers or predators. You'll often see the puffed up tail accompanied by other defensive body language. The cat might arch their back, turn sideways to make themselves look even bigger, flatten their ears against their head, and possibly hiss or growl. This is a cat who feels they're in danger and is preparing to defend themselves if necessary. The puffed up tail can happen in response to many different triggers: a sudden loud noise, an unfamiliar dog, another cat entering their territory, or even something as simple as a vacuum cleaner or a falling object. Some cats are more easily startled than others and will puff up their tail more readily. What should you do if your cat's tail puffs up? First, don't approach them or try to comfort them physically. A frightened cat might lash out defensively, even at someone they trust. Instead, identify and remove the source of fear if possible. Give your cat space and time to calm down. Speak to them in a soft, soothing voice from a distance, but let them come to you when they're ready. If your cat's tail puffs up frequently, even in situations that don't seem particularly scary, this could indicate chronic stress or anxiety. Cats living in stressful environments, cats who don't feel secure in their territory, or cats with anxiety disorders may have a hair-trigger fear response. If this describes your cat, it's worth talking to your vet about ways to reduce their stress and make them feel more secure. Tail position 3, the low tail. When your cat walks with their tail held low, close to the ground but not tucked underneath their body, this indicates uncertainty or mild concern. It's not as extreme as fear, but your cat is feeling a bit insecure or cautious about something. A low tail often appears in new or unfamiliar situations. When you move to a new house, when guests come over, or when you introduce a new piece of furniture or rearrange a room, your cat might carry their tail lower than usual. They're not terrified, but they're not completely comfortable either. They're being cautious and careful, trying to assess the situation. This tail position is also common in cats who are more timid or anxious by nature. Some cats just naturally carry their tail a bit lower because they're more cautious personalities. If your cat has always had a slightly lower tail carriage and they seem otherwise happy and healthy, this is just part of their personality. However, if your normally confident cat suddenly starts carrying their tail low all the time, or if the low tail is accompanied by other behavioral changes like hiding, decreased appetite, or reluctance to interact, this could indicate that something is wrong. Your cat might be feeling unwell, stressed about something in their environment, or experiencing pain. The appropriate response to a low tail is patience and reassurance. Don't force interaction, but make yourself available if your cat wants comfort. Maintain routines and create a calm, predictable environment. If the low tail position persists for more than a few days without an obvious cause, consider a vet visit to rule out health issues. Tail position 4, the tucked tail. Now we're moving into more serious territory. When your cat tucks their tail all the way under their body, wrapping it between their legs, this is a clear sign of fear, submission, or extreme anxiety. This is a cat who feels threatened and vulnerable. The tucked tail is the feline equivalent of hiding. Your cat is trying to make themselves as small and unnoticeable as possible. They're saying, "Please don't hurt me. I'm not a threat. I want to disappear." It's a submissive posture that indicates your cat feels powerless in the current situation. You might see a tucked tail when a cat encounters a more dominant cat. When they're at the vet's office during a stressful event like fireworks or thunderstorms, or when they're in an environment where they feel unsafe. Some cats tuck their tail when they're being scolded or when they know they've done something that upset their owner. Though I always want to remind everyone that scolding cats is ineffective and damaging to your relationship. A tucked tail requires immediate attention to the cat's emotional state. Whatever is causing this level of fear needs to be addressed. Remove your cat from the stressful situation if possible. Provide a safe hiding spot where they can feel secure and give them space to calm down. Never force interaction with a cat showing a tucked tail. They're already overwhelmed, and forcing contact will only make things worse. If your cat frequently shows a tucked tail in their home environment, this is a serious concern. A cat should feel safe and secure in their own territory. Chronic fear and anxiety have significant negative impacts on health and well-being. Work with your vet or a veterinary behaviorist to identify the sources of stress and develop a plan to help your cat feel more secure. Tail position 5, the whipping tail. Here's where many cat owners get confused, especially if they've had dogs. Your cat's tail is moving back and forth in strong, rapid strokes, almost like they're whipping it from side to side. This looks energetic and might seem playful, but it's actually a sign of agitation, frustration, or building aggression. The whipping tail is a warning sign. Your cat is saying, "I'm getting annoyed, I'm upset, and if this doesn't stop, I'm going to take action." This is not a happy cat. This is a cat whose patience is wearing thin. The faster and more forceful the tail whipping, the more agitated your cat is becoming. You'll often see the whipping tail during petting sessions, when a cat has reached their tolerance limit. Your cat might have been enjoying the attention initially, but now they've had enough and they want you to stop. If you ignore the whipping tail and continue petting, the next step is usually a bite or a swat with their claws. The whipping tail can also appear in situations that frustrate your cat. A cat watching a bird through a window they can't reach might whip their tail in frustration. A cat who wants to go through a closed door might display this tail movement. A cat who's being bothered by another pet might whip their tail as a warning before they lash out. The key message of the whipping tail is, stop whatever is happening right now. If you're interacting with your cat and you see this tail movement, stop immediately. Give your cat space. If another pet is bothering your cat and you see the whipping tail, intervene before things escalate to a fight. The whipping tail is your cat's way of saying, I'm about to lose my temper, and it's a warning you should always take seriously. Tail position 6, the slow swish. Not all tail movement is negative. When your cat's tail moves slowly from side to side in gentle, languid motions, this indicates your cat is focused and interested in something. This is completely different from the aggressive whipping we just talked about. The slow swish is controlled and deliberate. You'll often see the slow swish when your cat is watching something intently. A bird outside the window, a toy you're holding, another pet moving around the house, or even just watching you do something interesting. The slow swish means your cat is paying attention and mentally engaged. They're in hunting mode, watching potential prey, or just observing something that has captured their interest. This tail movement is often accompanied by other focused body language, dilated pupils, ears pointed forward, body lowered in a stalking posture, and sometimes that chattering sound that cats make when they see birds. Your cat is in predator mode, and their tail movement reflects their concentration. The slow swish is generally a neutral to positive tail signal. Your cat is alert and interested, but not aggressive or fearful. However, if you see the slow swish speeding up and becoming more agitated, that's a sign that frustration is building. A cat who can't reach the bird they're watching or who can't catch the toy they're stalking might transition from a calm, slow swish to a more agitated tail movement. If your cat is displaying the slow swish while watching you, this is actually kind of sweet. It means you have their full attention and they're interested in what you're doing. It's a sign of engagement and curiosity, which are positive emotions in a cat. Tail position. 7. The twitching tip. Sometimes your cat's tail appears still, but if you look closely, just the very tip is twitching. This small, subtle movement means your cat is mildly annoyed or irritated, but not enough to take serious action about it. It's like a human tapping their foot impatiently. The twitching tip often appears when your cat is trying to rest or relax, but something is mildly bothering them. Maybe there's a sound that's slightly annoying but not threatening. Maybe another pet is nearby but not directly bothering them. Maybe they're hungry but not starving. The twitching tip is your cat's way of expressing mild dissatisfaction without making a big deal about it. You might see the twitching tip when your cat is lying in their favorite spot and you walk by. They acknowledge your presence with a tip twitch, but don't feel the need to get up or change position. Or you might see it when your cat is trying to sleep and there's some minor disturbance in the environment. This tail movement is usually not a cause for concern. It's just your cat's way of expressing a minor feeling or reacting to a small stimulus. However, if you see the tip twitching become more intense or spread to the whole tail starting to lash, that's your cat's irritation level increasing, and you should pay attention to what's bothering them. The twitching tip can also appear during hunting or play. When your cat is intensely focused on prey or a toy, you might see just the tip of their tail twitching with excitement and concentration. In this context, it indicates focus and anticipation rather than annoyance. Tail position. 8. The wrapped tail. When your cat sits or lies down and wraps their tail neatly around their body, almost like they're wrapping themselves in a blanket, this is a sign of contentment and security. It's also a practical position that helps conserve body heat and protect their paws and body. The wrapped tail indicates a cat who feels safe and comfortable. They're settled in for a rest, they're not worried about threats, and they're in a good emotional space. You'll often see the wrapped tail when your cat is in their favorite sleeping spot, sitting on a windowsill watching the world, or lounging next to you on the couch. This tail position is completely normal and positive. It's a sign of a well-adjusted, comfortable cat. If your cat frequently sits with their tail wrapped around them, especially in your presence, it means they feel secure with you and in their environment. One thing to note is that the wrapped tail can sometimes look similar to the tucked tail we discussed earlier, but the energy is completely different. A wrapped tail looks relaxed and peaceful. The cat's body is soft, their facial expression is calm, and they seem content. A tucked tail looks tense and fearful. The cat's body is rigid, their facial expression is worried, and they seem stressed. Context and overall body language help you tell the difference. The wrapped tail is also temperature related. In cooler weather, cats will wrap their tail around themselves more often as a way to conserve heat. If you notice your cat wrapping their tail frequently and also seeking out warm spots, your home might be a bit too cool for their comfort. Cats prefer temperatures slightly warmer than most humans do, so providing cozy beds, blankets, or heated cat beds can help them stay comfortable. Tail position 9. The curved tail. When your cat walks with their tail curved over their back, almost like it's forming an arch or a shepherd's crook, this indicates confidence, contentment, and sometimes playfulness. This is a cat who feels good about themselves and their environment. The curved tail often appears during play sessions. Your cat might chase a toy with their tail curved up over their back, pouncing and running with that jaunty curved tail leading the way. This is a sign of a cat who's having fun and feeling energetic. You'll also see the curved tail during social interactions with other cats. When cats who like each other approach for a friendly greeting, they often display curved tails. It's a signal that says, "I come in peace, I'm friendly, and I'm happy to see you." The curved tail is one of the more positive tail positions, indicating good emotional state and social openness. However, there's a fine line between a confident curved tail and an agitated tail that's arching defensively. The difference is in the context and the rest of the body language. A playful curved tail is accompanied by soft, relaxed body language and maybe some bouncy movements. A defensive arched tail is accompanied by tense body language, possibly a puffed tail and defensive posturing. If your cat frequently displays a curved tail, especially around you, this is a sign they feel happy and secure in their relationship with you. It's a compliment, really. Your cat is showing you that they feel confident and content in your presence. Tail position 10, the straight out tail. When your cat walks with their tail extended straight out behind them, parallel to the ground, this indicates focus and determination. Your cat is on a mission. They have a goal in mind, and they're pursuing it with purpose. You'll often see the straight-out tail when your cat is walking towards something they want. Their food bowl at mealtime, a toy they've spotted, or maybe they're heading toward you for attention. The straight-out tail says, "I know what I want, and I'm going to get it." This tail position can also appear during hunting behavior. A cat stalking prey, whether it's a real mouse or a toy, will often hold their tail straight out for balance and control. It's part of their predatory body language, helping them move smoothly and quietly toward their target. The straight-out tail is generally a neutral to positive sign. It indicates a cat who is alert, focused, and goal-oriented. They're not frightened or aggressive, just determined. However, if the straight-out tail becomes rigid and the fur starts to puff up, that's moving into defensive or aggressive territory. A relaxed straight-out tail is flexible and moves naturally with the cat's walking motion. A stiff, rigid straight-out tail indicates tension. In multi-cat households, the straight-out tail can sometimes be part of dominance displays. A more confident cat might walk with their tail straight out to show they own the space and feel in control. This isn't necessarily aggressive, just a way of communicating their social position. Tail position 11. The vibrating tail. This is one of the more unusual and specific tail movements you'll see. Your cat approaches you or another cat with their tail held vertically, and the entire tail is vibrating or quivering rapidly. It looks almost like the tail is shaking. The vibrating tail has a very specific meaning. In most contexts, it's a sign of extreme happiness and excitement. Cats often display this behavior when greeting their favorite human after a separation, during feeding time when they're very excited about their meal, or when they're anticipating something they really enjoy like playtime. However, there's one important exception to the happy vibrating tail rule. Male cats who are spraying urine to mark their territory will also vibrate their tail while they back up to a vertical surface and spray. In this context, the vibrating tail is part of marking behavior, not a sign of happiness. You can tell the difference by context. A cat greeting you with a vibrating tail is facing you and moving toward you. A cat who's spraying is facing away from you with their rear end toward a wall or object. If your neutered male or spayed female cat displays the vibrating tail during greetings and other positive interactions, this is a wonderful sign. It means they're genuinely thrilled to see you or thrilled about what's happening. It's one of the most enthusiastic positive signals a cat can give. If your intact male cat is displaying the vibrating tail along with backing up to surfaces and spraying, this is marking behavior and a sign that you should get your cat neutered if you haven't already. Spraying is a natural behavior for intact males, but it's not something you want happening in your home. Tail position 12, the hook tail. When your cat's tail forms a distinct hook or angle, usually with the base pointing down and the tip curving upward, or vice versa, this can indicate several different emotional states depending on the exact configuration and context. A tail that's down at the base but hooks upward at the end can indicate uncertainty or mixed feelings. Your cat isn't sure how to feel about the current situation. They're not completely relaxed, but they're not completely on guard either. You might see this when your cat is approaching something new or unfamiliar, or when they're in a situation where they have conflicting emotions. A sharply hooked tail that looks almost like a number 7 can be part of defensive body language, especially if the hook is very pronounced and the tail is held close to the body. This is a cat who's feeling somewhat threatened, but is trying to make themselves less noticeable, rather than puffing up to look bigger. The hooked tail is less common than some of the other tail positions we've discussed, but it's worth recognizing because it tells you your cat is in an in-between emotional state. They're not comfortable enough to display confident tail positions like the vertical tail, but they're not frightened enough to fully tuck their tail or puff it up. They're somewhere in the middle, uncertain and cautious. If you see your cat displaying a hooked tail, give them space to figure out their feelings. Don't force interaction, but be available if they decide they want your support. Create a calm environment and let your cat approach things at their own pace. Tail position 13, the thrashing tail. This is different from the whipping tail we discussed earlier. When a cat's tail thrashes, it doesn't just move from side to side. It slams against the ground or against surfaces with real force. You can actually hear it hitting things. This is a cat who has moved beyond annoyance into genuine anger or extreme agitation. The thrashing tail is one of the most serious warning signals a cat can give. This is a cat on the verge of aggression. They might be about to attack another cat, they might be about to bite or scratch a human who's bothering them, or they might just be so frustrated and angry that they're ready to lash out at anything nearby. You'll see the thrashing tail in situations of high conflict or stress. Two cats having a territorial dispute, a cat who's been cornered and feels they can't escape, or a cat who's been pushed past all their limits during an interaction they didn't want. The thrashing tail says, "I am done. I have reached my limit, and I'm about to do something about it." If you ever see your cat displaying a thrashing tail, take it extremely seriously. Stop whatever interaction is happening immediately. If two cats are facing off with thrashing tails, separate them before a fight breaks out. If your cat is thrashing their tail at you, back away and give them space. Do not try to comfort them or calm them down with physical touch. They need space and time to de-escalate. A cat who frequently displays a thrashing tail is a cat living with chronic stress or in an environment where they feel constantly threatened. This is a serious welfare concern that needs to be addressed. Work with your vet or a behaviorist to identify the sources of stress and make changes to help your cat feel more secure. Tail position 14. The bushy tail. This is similar to the puffed up tail we discussed earlier, but there's a difference in degree and intention. A fully puffed tail is defensive fear, making the cat look bigger to scare off threats. A bushy tail, where the fur is somewhat elevated but not completely puffed, can indicate excitement, high arousal, or strong emotion that isn't necessarily fear. You might see a bushy tail during intense play sessions. A cat who's really into hunting a toy might have a somewhat bushy tail because their arousal level is high. This isn't fear, it's excitement and intense focus. The adrenaline is flowing and their body is responding with piloerection. The bushy tail can also appear during aggressive displays that are more offensive than defensive. A cat who's asserting dominance or initiating conflict might have a bushy tail as part of their intimidation display. They're not scared. They're amped up and ready for confrontation. The key to interpreting the bushy tail is looking at the rest of the body language and the context. A bushy tail during play, accompanied by playful pouncing and batting at toys, is just an excited cat having fun. A bushy tail during a standoff with another cat, accompanied by direct stares, forward-pointing ears, and tense body posture, is pre-fight aggression. If your cat gets a bushy tail during play, it means they're really into it, which is great. But keep an eye on arousal levels. Sometimes cats can get over-aroused during play and transition from playing to actual aggression. If you see your cat getting too wound up, with a progressively bushier tail and more intense behavior, it's time to dial back the play and let them calm down. Tail position 15. The dragging tail. Our final tail position is one that should always concern you. If your cat is dragging their tail on the ground as they walk, unable to hold it up in a normal position, this almost always indicates a medical problem. A cat's tail is an extension of their spine, made up of vertebrae, muscles, nerves, and blood vessels. A healthy cat has full control over their tail and can position it however they want. If your cat can't lift their tail, can't move it normally, or is dragging it on the ground, something is wrong. Possible causes include injury to the tail or spine, neurological problems, nerve damage, or serious illness. A cat who's been hit by a car, fallen from a height, or had their tail caught in a door might drag their tail due to injury. A cat with neurological disease or spinal problems might lose tail control as a symptom of their condition. If you notice your cat dragging their tail, or if their tail suddenly becomes limp and immobile, get to a vet immediately. This is not something to wait and see about. Tail paralysis or loss of tail function can indicate serious problems that need immediate medical attention. One exception is older cats with severe arthritis. Sometimes senior cats with very painful arthritis might carry their tail lower than usual or seem to have less tail control simply because it hurts to hold it up. This still warrants veterinary attention for pain management, but it's a different situation from sudden tail paralysis or injury. Putting it all together. Now that you understand these 15 different tail positions and movements, you can start reading your cat's emotional state and intentions with much more accuracy. But remember, the tail doesn't exist in isolation. Always look at the whole cat. What are their ears doing? What does their facial expression look like? What's their body posture? Is their fur smooth or puffed? Are they vocalizing? The tail is one piece of a larger communication system. A vertical tail combined with forward-pointing ears, a relaxed face, and a soft body means something completely different than a vertical tail combined with backward-pointing ears, a tense face, and a rigid body. Context matters enormously. Also remember that individual cats have their own communication styles. Some cats are more expressive with their tails than others. Some cats naturally carry their tail higher or lower based on their personality and confidence level. Get to know your individual cat's baseline tail behavior so you can recognize when something changes. If you've enjoyed learning to decode cattail language, I've written an ebook called Emergency First Aid for Senior and Disabled Indoor Cats that includes detailed information about reading cat body language and recognizing when something's wrong. You can find the link in the description below, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next video, where we're going to talk about why your cat drinks water wrong and how it might be affecting their kidney health. It's information every cat owner needs to know. Understanding your cat's tail language transforms your relationship with them. You'll respond more appropriately to their needs, you'll avoid pushing them past their comfort zones, and you'll recognize warning signs before situations escalate. Your cat is always talking to you with their tail. Now you know how to listen. Thanks for watching, cat lovers. We'll see you in the next video.